Hey, everybody. So this episode, we do discuss 2020 eventually, but for the first 35-ish minutes, we do discuss what happened yesterday in DC at the Capitol. It gets pretty passionate, and there is some strong language. Not that we don't have strong language anyway, but we don't mince words when it comes to talking about our political views. We both hate Trump and think he is an abysmal president, and we just wanted to let you guys know that up front. If you prefer not to listen to politics stuff because you're burned out and because it's a lot, we totally understand. We'll catch you next week. But without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Oh, God! Yes! Welcome back to Is It Still Good? This is the show where we take our rose-colored glasses, we dig a small child-sized hole in the backyard, we place the glasses in a canister in the hole, and then we move from that house. And then untold years later in the future, other people dig up that canister and wonder what the hell was going on in there. Meanwhile, it is without the glasses that we are forced to look upon the events of the past. And that's what we'll be doing today. We're two film students. We're grown up. We hate growing up. I refuse to grow up. I don't care. I'm Bear Kennedy. I'm in Salem, Massachusetts.
I love that. I don't care. I'm Andrew Carter in Los Angeles. I hate growing up as well. But, I think I'm different than you. I hate it, but I'm also like, we got to do it.
I think you're different from me as well.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But so today we are discussing the year 2020, but we would be remiss if we didn't discuss what the fuck is going on in DC right now and in America. Democracy is under attack in an unprecedented way, and it is all because of our soon to be evicted president, if you can even call him that. I have gotten to the point, I don't know about you, Bear, but I've gotten to the point where I can't, I can't really, I can't understand anymore why anyone would ever vote for him. Not that I really could in the first place, but at 4 years ago in 2016, we didn't really have a choice but to give him a chance and just be like, okay, let's accept it, I guess. But at this point, if you voted for this guy, go fuck yourself. And if you still support him, go fuck yourself. I want you to hear me clearly. Fuck you. And I can't be silent about it anymore. I can't.
Yeah, we don't talk politics on the show that often. I think if you're
No, we
paying
don't.
attention, if you don't know us in real life, you should be able to figure it out. If you know at least me in real life, you know how I feel. Today we're broadcasting today on the day of a I guess widespread, uncoordinated, and like heavily cargo pants coup in Washington D.C. We're recording. What the fuck day is it? It's January 6th.
Yes.
So
This will be live tomorrow on the 7th.
Yeah. So a bunch of weird shit happened this afternoon. I had an especially weird day, just on a personal note. Obviously, I'm looking a little more professional today. I had to do my hair because I had a Zoom interview, which went well. But that's why I'm looking a little different.
You look great.
Thank you very much. So I had that.
Well.
Yeah, and then I probably read about a 1,000 tweets today, but I read one that said, trying to do my fake email job while there's a literal coup going on. And I was like, that's also what I've been doing this afternoon.
Pretty much what we're all doing.
I got nothing done today.
Yeah.
Which just is something that happens. But
right.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing I'll say is that, like, look, and I don't know, I think I've said this a couple of times to a couple of different people, and I am as far from a Trump supporter as you could probably get, unless you really believe in horseshoe theory, where communists actually become fascists. Outside of that, not the guy for me. But remember, like, the thing about these people is that they have not experienced the same narrative of reality that we have. for
Mhm.
various lengths of time. So, like, I was talking to someone today who was like aghast at all this stuff. Like, how can these people feel this way? What are they doing? And I was like, look, you're coming in 2 hours into the movie and expecting to understand the plot. There is no
Right.
way you're going to be able to get in the mindset of these type of people. They've been completely engorged in an alternate history of at least the last 4 years, maybe somewhat shorter, but certainly
Mhm.
the last couple months where they actually don't think that Joe Biden won the election.
Right.
It's very hard to get in that mindset if you are not already poisoned there. So this doesn't
Yeah.
excuse anyone's behavior, but if you're like, what? How could you be this into Trump? How could you want to do this kind of thing, like storm the Capitol and have some kind of violent protest in support of keeping him in office? That's basically been reinforced into their worldview and the media that they consume pretty much perpetually and certainly nonstop for the last almost 2-3 months since the run up to the
Right.
election, the actual election. So I
Right.
I look at that stuff. I'm like, this is fucked up. Also objectively funny because I do think it's funny that the Congress people and senators who we elect who just refuse to help anybody ever, they don't even think about it, are now having to cower in their offices as these hordes of weird people are storming their place of work. I do find that to be funny. Um, because fuck them. Outside of like maybe 5 people, fuck them. But yeah, it's bad. It is bad when you see stuff that happens to other countries that you're used to seeing on the news happen to your country. That's not reassuring after
Right.
4 shitty
Yeah.
years and one that was kind of the year to end all shitty years.
Yeah. And I think like, I personally, I don't think it's funny. I know what you mean. I get what you're
I
saying.
legitimately think it's funny. I
I
legitimately think it's funny that people who refuse to address like gun control are now facing down heavily armed people in the
Right.
Capitol. That
I
is
un-
funny to me.
I
That is,
understand
yeah,
that.
that is a
I
source of
understand
humor.
that. But what's not funny is that a woman died. A woman got shot and
Not
died.
funny at all. It's
That's
never. It's not funny
terrible.
when innocent people take
Right.
take the loss or get hurt. But
Right.
I
Right.
wouldn't say anybody in Congress is an innocent person.
Right. I
Um,
understand what you're saying. And I think that this is, I can't even believe we even have to say this, is that like I hope that this forces people to look at things like gun control, like these fucking crazy assholes. I mean, how many of those people were armed? I would say, I would guess a very large percentage of them.
they do love being armed.
Yeah. And I think that the other thing that really infuriated me was the hypocrisy. I mean, if those people were black or brown
Yeah,
or not white, just not white, I mean, they would be tear gassed, they would be shot with rubber bullets, like they would be dispersed immediately. And I don't even know if any arrests were made. I'd like to think that
I
some were, but
take the under.
yeah, I'll take the under on that too. And I was just watching CNN before we got on here, and Jake Tapper was asking the mayor of Washington D.C., like, "Are you going to arrest people? Is that a yes?" And she kept saying, "Oh, well, we have the necessary capabilities and stuff," and it was just a classic sidestep. And it's
Yeah,
just my biggest problem. And that's why I don't think this is a party issue, because the mayor of DC is a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat, but like I have a big problem with what she was saying, because it becomes this thing of like, just have some backbone. Just say, yes, we will arrest them, because that's what you
yeah,
should do. What they're doing is illegal, number one. And number two, the reason this is not a bipartisan issue is that these people who are this Trump supporters. I'm not talking about, registered Republicans who voted for Biden or whatever. And I mean, like these people, the canon conspiracy theorists and the COVID deniers and the anti-maskers, it's like they're a different breed completely. Now, do I know people that voted for Trump in 2016 who I still love? Yeah, I do. And it's very, very hard. I will be honest, it's not a ton of people. But it's difficult for me at this point. The thing is, I don't know if they voted for him again. And there is a little part of me that doesn't want to know, because if I find out that they
Yeah.
did, I just this is just me personally. I'm not saying that I judge anyone for being friend. This is just me personally. It would be very hard for me to continue to be friends with them and keep them in my life in any capacity,
Yeah.
because I just can't reason with it. I can't do it. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I can't do it. And you know, what they're saying with their votes is that no one matters except me and my wallet. And I
Yeah.
just
Well,
don't
that's,
agree with that at all. I never
I don't
have, I
either.
never
I don't
will.
either.
And frankly, the people who are not conspiracy theorists and the anti-COVID and all this shit who have voted for Trump, who are not these crazy assholes storming the Capitol, the evidence that I've seen, it seems that they have voted for him for fiscal reasons. And specifically, some of the people that I know that voted for him seemingly for fiscal reasons, it just makes me wonder. And again, I don't want to be presumptuous and I don't want to assume to know like what their lives and their situations are, but just from my vantage point, they've never had to struggle in their lives financially, and they probably never will.
Yeah.
So there's a little part of me that's like, why can't you understand that some people, a lot of people, the majority of people have it worse than you do and need help more than you do? I just, while I understand protecting your personal, you know, portfolio investments, whatever you want to call it, just voting for a Democrat doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden going to have $0 in the bank. I think that's what they're so fucking afraid of. And it makes no sense to me, and it never has. And it's just infuriated me to no end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big, large part of this too.
No, I agree. I don't know. I don't know why I feel compelled to defend some of that stuff sometimes, but people are bad at really seeing sometimes a bigger picture of society they live in.
Right.
Sometimes they get a little bit of information and they extrapolate it to being a lot. So they start looking at like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, if only I wasn't taxed that much, I would be able to afford more things or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, but how much shit in your life is paid for by taxes?
Right.
How much stuff do you access? How the combined strength of everyone paying taxes, going into a shared infrastructure that we all use to do our lives is basically a good thing. So
Right.
taking that away, saying like, oh, well, I don't need that, or I'm going to pick and choose. It's like having that friend who you go out to the group dinner with, and he like talks his way out of the bottle of wine that he definitely drank some of as far as paying, and doesn't want to, tip, or like gives you, in cash, like, tax and tip not included,
Yeah. Like exactly
his
what he
amount.
paid. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
God.
and
Fuck
that those are the
off.
kind of people that it's
Yes.
that scenario, but like blown up to the entire country. And
Right.
look, everyone hates that friend, and if you are that friend, eat my whole entire ass. But that's the kind of thing that's the kind of way people can get to start feeling about everything. I'm not
Yeah.
excusing it. I don't think that that's a good way to live life. I think those people are extremely wrong, but I
Right.
understand how you can get there. I'll
I
never
that's what I'm saying.
understand the Confederate flag shit unless you just
No.
really hate black people.
Right. That's
Um,
horrible. And I
yeah,
I understand how you can get there too, but what I have a hard time understanding um after that point is, once you get there and you have enough, then why do you still continue to support that type of lifestyle?
no
That's
idea.
that's what I'm saying. I agree with you completely. Like I understand how one can get there, but what I don't understand is people that, have a lot and still vote with their wallets. And because it just makes it again, I just want to say, maybe I'm missing some issues. And look, I'm not, I'm by no means a financial expert or a political expert, but at the same time, it just feels like what I've started to learn the older I've gotten, and how I vote is that, and look, you can call me naive, you can call me whatever you want, but if someone's a good person, I mean, look, we've also gotten to that point. If someone's a good person and I agree with their policies, my thing is like, you know what? They're probably going to do some good for everybody. That's my hope. Like, I personally, whatever you want to say, like, I loved Obama. He was my favorite. He still is my favorite president that has ever been in my lifetime. I'm proud to say that he was my first vote, and I voted for him twice. That being said, I also was not afraid of McCain, and I was not terrified of him becoming president. When he selected Sarah Palin, that's a whole different story, and that pretty much buried him. And frankly, I think it probably should have, because that was a bad call. But I also think that like he was a very good person.
Well,
And
at least he's dead. I don't think he was a good person, and I'm
oh,
happy that he's
okay,
dead.
that's I mean, look, we're
I
all
also
entitled to our
disagree with you
opinions.
about Obama. That guy is not someone I would ever defend either. But
I love him.
I think we are broadly on the same side of things, but probably
There's
guessing I'm a
nuances.
little more leaning towards the left than you are.
This is like not even really a political issue. It's like a right and wrong issue. It's pretty line in the sand, cut and dry. It's fucked up. It's really terrible what's happening, and it should be condemned, and Trump should burn in hell.
I
And
got bad news about hell.
but seriously, like the fact that he sent out this video message that told them to go home, but twisted it manipulatively and said that I feel your pain for what the Democrats did to us. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, that's it. I don't want to waste any more time or energy on this.
It's like the scene in Fear and Loathing where Dr. Gonzo spills all the cocaine all over his chest and just yells, "Do you see what God just fucking did to us, man?"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll give you the last word on it though, because I've said my piece.
Well, we can do it in a show on Is Obama Still Good, and I can explain to you terms like drone strike and controlling all three houses of government, and how you can squander an opportunity and never actually change anything and lead directly into Donald Trump. That might be a conversation for a different day.
It's an interesting point, but
I don't know that anyone can be too surprised if you constantly tell a group of undereducated, desperate people that the most important thing in the world is the Second Amendment, and if the government starts becoming tyrannical, then it's your fucking duty to rise up and overthrow it. And then when they do it, you're like, well, this is an outrage. This isn't who we are. It's like it's an outrage, but it is exactly kind of who we are.
Yeah,
and,
I agree with you on that. It's definitely an outrage, and it's definitely shocking to a point and upsetting, but I don't think I think if people are surprised, I don't think they've been paying close attention.
I think if you're like, oh, I'm embarrassed to be an American, it's like, did you just start paying attention to news today?
Yeah,
like this is
like,
not
are you just
place.
Are you like, are you embarrassed? Like, are you embarrassed starting now, or like have you been embarrassed? Because like,
yeah, are you just airing that out after years of being like,
that's another
this country sucks?
Right. That's another thing too, is that like, I think you can still have love for this country and still recognize that not only is it deeply flawed, there are going to be a lot of times when you are not fucking proud to be an American. And frankly, I don't think that's unpatriotic to say, because where it's coming from is, I have a lot of love for this country, and I want to see it do better, and I want to see us all do better, and I'm included in that. And obviously we're on different levels than these fucking morons in DC right now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that I don't think it's unpatriotic to say that America sucks sometimes, and I'm so tired of people like, these people live, yes, right, but like these people live in this black and white. And I don't know, to be honest with you, man, like that's kind of that was always the vibe I got from Obama. Yes, of course, he's a politician and he never explicitly stated those words. But every time I watched him, and every time I saw him in an interview or listened to him on a podcast, or watched him shower, no, I'm kidding, but no, but anytime I ever like saw him speak, I was like, this guy is the smartest guy in the room, and I know that there's more that he wants to say, but he can't because he's a politician. And I get it, and I respect it, and the dude is just fucking cool. Like that's it. So that's where I'm at with it. But
I do not endorse any of that, but I will say
that's fine.
a year ago, it looked like we were going to have some serious change in this country. And it was pretty exciting. And then obviously it didn't happen. But I really didn't think in a year's time we'd be having full out like
Yeah.
riots in the Capitol. And
Yeah,
certainly
that part is a little surprising.
not from the
But you know
right
what?
wing.
Look, it's fucking. I know what you mean that it looks like it might not happen, but with Biden coming in and now with the Democrats controlling both the House and the Senate, that's I personally I think that's extremely promising because again,
God, I wish I had that optimism. I guess I just remembered 2008 to 2010 too well to ever think that
I
that's
get
going to be a
that,
path
dude.
to meaningful change.
I know what you mean. I get that. Like, it's hard to sit here and say like,
I don't want to kill your day. You
no, no,
seem
no.
to be positive on this, and I'm bringing you down.
No, you're not, dude. This is a horrible day. I don't mind, but I'm saying that I'm optimistic, and obviously there's a lot to point to and say, well, it might not happen or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel that there is something in the air where people are really fucking tired of sitting back and letting this shit happen. And I don't know, the fact that you know the fact that Kamala is now the leader of the Senate. Um, I think that's a very strong and hopeful position for us to be in. Look at that
Yes,
fucking smile
I'm
on your
sure
face.
California's top cop will do something about all the police violence.
Well, I just again, I just all we can do is be hopeful. I can't just sit idly by and not hope. That being said, I'm trying to taper my expectations because I don't want to be crazily disappointed. It was kind of like when Obama got elected. I think people were they made him this out to be this messiah and all these things. And I remember right when he got elected, my friend Adam said to me, "He's just a man." Like people need to remember that he's gonna fuck up. He's just a man. Same with Biden. Kamala, they're just people. They're going to make mistakes. But here's the difference. They're good people. And the people that were in there and running the country for the last 4 years are fucking monsters. I'm sorry, but that is a big difference. They are good people, and those people are monsters. You can say that you might not, you can say you don't like them, whatever, but the Trump administration and all his fucking cronies, they are on a different level of evil. And I don't personally, I do not think that is debatable.
I mean, I'm excited for all the camps closed down at the border as soon as Biden takes office.
God.
No, look, we should move on to a different topic. I will say,
Yeah, we should move on to 2020.
If this is the first time I've heard either of us talk about politics, sorry.
Yeah.
The look, the stage we're at now as a broken empire on decline in America that is pot committed to capitalism. It's created a situation where people are very desperate. Things aren't getting better. There is widespread inequality that's fucking up everyone's time. So people are going to do stuff that is dumb. And if they're driven into the hands of the Republicans or really liking Trump because they view maybe people who aren't white and immigrants as the cause of all their problems, they're going to do that. But the root cause of things is the same whether you are out there thinking that Donald Trump is your savior or you're just someone who views healthcare and like gay rights and women's autonomy as just non-negotiable issues. You're going to look at the world around you and be like, this sucks and it should change. The issue is that it's very appealing when you're beaten down and atomized and isolated and living in this shitty country to get sucked into some stuff that's harmful for you. And that's how you end up with people doing all this crazy Trump stuff. And that's very sad. But the reason that those people feel that way and are driven to those extremes is the same reason why we can't get anything good done for vulnerable people in society. It's because it is unfortunately it's because of this commitment to capitalism and this denial of how it's going for everyone. So that's going to just continue to suck. I would say no matter who's in charge. And I think you're going to hopefully be up for more of a disappointment than an opportunity to make excuses when you see what doesn't change in the next 2 years. That would be my hope for maybe you and people who think like that, who are looking at this as like, okay, we got the good guys in there, things are going to change. And then when they don't, reevaluate why that might be.
Yeah, I understand that. I think
That's my extremely soft sell to go join the DSA.
I I understand, and I also think that on top of that, when people say things like we have to work together and all that stuff, while I understand and hear those words, I also see a lot of people of color that are fucking furious, at rightly so, not only at this country but at these Trump supporters, and they don't want to work with them. Like, they don't want to fucking talk to them. They're not to these people are not to be reasoned with, and I don't blame people of color for feeling that way. In fact, I agree with them.
I'm
I
not
don't
dying to work with someone who thinks
Yeah.
chugging a gallon of milk and waving the Confederate flag around is a great call.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking that's I it's funny. I know that like just sounds like we're trying to create division. I'm not necessarily trying to create division, but I also think we need to take a good hard look and be like, who is really worth having a conversation with? Like, some people are really just beyond help, and that's the way it is.
You're not going to be able to convince like a Proud Boy to do socialism.
Right,
But what I think
right.
you can do is if you work towards improving people's material conditions, including those Nazis, and they notice that, and you make it part of your mission to help everybody, you might show them that they're wrong. But you can't argue with it. You ever argue with a Trump family member? You're never going to get across.
Oh yeah, it's never going to get anywhere. But that's a really good point, Bear. And I also think that like one thing we have to remember is that there are such things as former neo-Nazis and ex-neo-Nazis who now have realized the error of their ways and try and you know take people out of that world.
Yeah, there's this guy
And
in
that's
porn that I see a lot, and he's got like a big, like black sleeve on his arm, and I always think it's like
there's
he's
this
got like
guy
this.
in
He's
porn.
got this look, and he's in a lot of shit.
You
And I'm
make
always like,
porn sound like either like a town that you visit and
it
you're like, I
is.
walk around porn a lot and I see
I
this
do.
guy, or like some department store.
I don't know his
See,
name. I've looked it up, but he bothers me. His look bothers me, and then he's got this big blackout arm, and I can't help but think he's covering something sinister up.
something
It
terrible.
bothers me. I can't watch him fuck.
Well, yeah, well then don't. But yeah, I mean, I think this episode, look, we're already like almost a half hour in, and I know we're supposed to talk about
2020
2020, but
recap.
you know what it is? I kind of feel like this episode's about politics. Politics, is it still good? And
Well, I would say no.
no, of course not. And I think that it's not good because, there is, I just, there's so much division. And again, I know there was division with Obama too, but it really seems like a different time. And maybe that was because we were 10 years younger and that things were just a lot different. Or maybe it's because, he was just a fucking better president and uniting people, which of course he was better than Trump. There's no question about that. But I think that, you know, I think that Biden's message of I will be a president for all, whether you voted for me or not, is, again, hopeful and optimistic. It remains to be seen. What I think is going to happen is I think he's going to do whatever he can and try to do whatever he can. But I think ultimately what's going to happen is like people they're either going to listen or they're not. And it's like the same thing as wearing your mask. Like people just aren't going to wear their fucking masks if they don't want to. And people aren't going to, there's a curfew in DC right now. Hopefully people are dispersing on the lawn. They might not be. And they're going to do what they're going to do. And that's what's so extremely frustrating is that if you're a good law-abiding citizen, law-abiding to the point of just like being respectful and a good fucking person and not a goddamn threat to not only national security, but to anybody, then that's great, but there are a lot of people out there that feel like being patriotic is it's the white man mentality. Like I have to protect what's mine and I have to fight for what's mine. And it's not yours. It never was yours. This country was stolen.
Yeah.
Like let's be real. Like
Well,
let's
that
call
yeah.
us let's talk about the fucking facts for a second.
Well, that's it's just like, look, you're embarrassed to be an American. Again, did you just start paying attention to history right now? Like, it's not.
Right.
It's in a good place. Let me do a hard transition because clearly the election, everything that went with it, politics in 2020 sucked ass.
Yeah.
What was your favorite movie of 2020? I think I saw one film released in 2020,
My
maybe two.
favorite I saw a few. My favorite movie of 2020 was The King of Staten Island.
Interesting.
I loved it. I thought it was Judd Apatow's probably his most adult work. And the irony is that the protagonist was, I think, the youngest because he was like 24. I guess Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl are like 23 and knocked up. But um, I just felt like there was something. First of all, it's probably his best looking movie too. It was shot on film in Staten Island in the summer. It just looks great, and you feel like you're there, especially if you like you grow up in that climate and have those humid summers. It just
Ooh,
reminds you of that,
that's
and
a very distinct feeling.
it is. I also just think the opening scene of it is his best thing he's ever directed.
Interesting.
And I won't spoil it, but you should check it out. It'll probably be on HBO at some point soon.
Yeah.
But it's honestly, I loved it. I was watching it at a time where my depression was kind of high, and it really spoke to me because Pete Davidson is very open about his struggles with mental health, and the movie touches on that quite a bit. And I don't know. I just feel like once again, not to sound, but it ties in perfectly to the theme of our show, is that like they just really don't make movies like that anymore. And I really appreciated that. And I just felt just like a really nice 2 hour plus visit. It was a little long, maybe some criticisms there, but like I thought Pete Davidson really carried it. I thought Bill Burr was wonderful and hilarious. And I'm a fan of him anyway, but I just thought he was so great. It was a very similar thing that Apatow did for Bill Hader in Trainwreck, how it was just a role that you haven't seen him in, but you're like, oh, this guy can like really be a romantic lead and really funny and carry this thing. Marissa Tomei is wonderful as always.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's always great. Everything she does. And Pete's friends, his Staten Island buddies were funny, and just again, it felt like there was a lot of honesty with discussions about mental health. Like in the first 10 minutes, this isn't. I won't spoil the opening scene, but in one of the very early scenes, he's having sex with his pseudo girlfriend, and they're having they
They're
finish
having
and then he's
intercourse.
like yeah
They,
they're I'm gonna explain intercourse to the audience now. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but like they're having sex. I personally haven't, but
it
I'll
looks
do it
good
one
though.
day. It looks cool. Yeah. A lot of screaming though. It's kind of loud, and honestly it was a little rude, but no.
Yeah.
So after they have sex, they have a conversation, and she tells him like she asks him like, oh, did you come? And he's like, oh no, it's okay. And she's like, is it the antidepressants? And he's like, oh yeah, definitely. And like I just thought that was a very honest conversation, and frankly something that I can relate to because I know that feeling of being on antidepressants and having to work really fucking hard to TMI alert to have an orgasm. And I really just thought that was very refreshing. And I don't know. I just immediately after that, I was just like, oh, I'm really into this movie. But I was into it from the first scene. I really was. And I can't. To your point, dude, I can't remember a lot of things I saw in theaters. I went to Sundance last January and I saw Palm Springs, which was great, a great screening there, and it was a really really fun movie. I saw a movie called The Climb that I absolutely loved, and I think it's coming to Blu-ray and stuff in February. It's an excellent it's like a reinvention of the buddy comedy, like just aesthetically speaking, it's hilarious and just really great. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is excellent. Chadwick Boseman's last performance. My pal Coleman Domingo kills it in it. And Viola Davis as well. And then Trying to think if I know there was other stuff that came on demand that I haven't gotten a chance to see yet. I really want to see Promising Young Women, or excuse me, Promising Young
Yeah,
Woman. I
yeah,
hear that's great. But what
yeah.
about you?
I think the only movie I saw that was released in 2020 in theaters, and this was a must see for me, was the Color Out of Space with Nick Cage,
I've
which I saw at the Music Box. Shout
Was it
out!
awesome?
I, it was it was almost amazing. It was a treat.
Okay.
Um, and I think that might have actually been technically released in 2019, but it only came to Chicago in like a year ago, like last
Mhm.
January. Yeah, that's up my alley. Awesome
I want to see
effects,
that.
ridiculous Nick Cage performance. Um, Nice mid to low budget horror movie.
That's what I'm talking about, man. The
Really
mid to
liked
low
it.
budget stuff, there just aren't enough of those anymore. And like King of
Yeah.
Staten Island, I think was like 30 million, and that's not a ton. But even that felt like a throwback. Actually, another movie that I liked, which I think was also a similar budget, was The Way Back with Ben Affleck.
I didn't
Um,
see that because the
he was
trailer
good.
looked terrible, but I did hear it's pretty good.
It's good. It's definitely good. That would be up there for me. Probably if other things had come out normally, I don't know where it would rank, but he gives a great performance and it feels very, very personal to him.
Yeah.
And it's a really well done movie. It feels kind of like a 70s movie, just a 70s character piece in a good way.
Interesting.
Um, but to your point about like 2020 movies and everything, was there I think it's no secret that this year just was objectively pretty terrible.
It was bad.
Um,
It
it
wasn't
was just,
great. Yeah.
there was nothing in history could have prepared us for all this. Um, so I don't necessarily think we need to talk about like why it sucked because everyone knows why it sucked,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. But and I don't want to sit here and be like, I'd rather talk about the good as well because I don't want to ignore the suffering and everything. But was there a moment in 2020 for you specifically that you felt like you were growing or that you felt like a moment that you were grateful for specifically? Because I
I
had a
did.
few of those, but
I went to Costa Rica for like a week in February, and I really only knew Costa Rica from The Office. It fucking
what? Because
rules.
Toby.
Yeah, yeah, because he relocates there.
That's amazing.
Um, yeah,
That's an amazing place.
it's good. It's really fucking good.
Mhm.
The at least what they tell you is that they, based on where they are geographically in Central America, they realize that if someone wanted to invade them with an army, there'd be like no way to defend it. So they
Mhm.
got rid of their military apparatus and just put all that money into their natural parks.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
rainforests are incredible.
Ridiculous. People are super nice. You know, I think their main city, I believe, is San Jose,
Hmm.
um, which had plenty of fun stuff going on. And then all the nature shit we saw was ridiculous. The only thing I didn't love about it is that I don't speak Spanish. I was like, Christ, I'm in here like an idiot American. Like I know like 5 words in Spanish.
Right.
Everyone was super nice. So that trip was great. That was a good time. I did catch the flu verified. I came back with the flu B and strep throat from that trip at the same time.
Wow. Do
So
you
that was
think it
good
could have been
context.
COVID?
I tested positive for flu B,
Okay.
which I do think it could have been COVID because
Hmm.
flu B is apparently the one where you get the shit and pukes,
Oh man.
which I
Yeah.
did not have, and the doctor told me, oh, just wait a day, you'll get them, and I didn't.
Oh, you didn't
So
ever.
I
Okay.
didn't ever get them, and I had a cough, and everything was terrible, and it really sucked for a while. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Dude,
really
I'm in the
don't know
same
about it.
boat. Zoe and I both got sick in like February 1st. I when I went to Sundance, I'm pretty sure I got sick from Sundance
Yeah,
because I came home and a few days later we went to San Diego for the weekend to see a friend's band was playing and and then that Sunday I remember we stopped at a Costco in San Diego because I was like I'm starting this new diet. Like, so I got like a bunch of salmon and veggies or whatever. And then the next day I just felt like death
Yeah.
And not only did I abandon the diet, I like after like 3 days, because I was like, I'm sick. I want to just eat what I want to eat. I had I forget what, I think it was In and Out or something, and I was like, this is incredible. Like I think I had fast food, and I was like, I didn't feel better like yet, but I was like, thank God, this is amazing. But I was sick for a good 2 weeks. Like
Yeah.
I didn't work for 2 weeks, and even on like some of the shifts that I had at my job that I had before I lost it due to COVID, some of them I would work from home anyway. Even those I couldn't do. And then
Damn.
Zoe got it inevitably, and she was sick for 2 weeks. So there was a 3 week period from like beginning of February to, towards the end where we were both sick. And we, like once we were out of it, 3 weeks later, we were in lockdown. And it didn't really dawn on us till a little bit after that. But we were like, I think we might have had it because we both had fevers. We both had, bad coughs, and just again we just felt like we were fucking, like we didn't lose our senses of smell or anything, but we just felt like, what the fuck happened
Yeah.
and where did this come from? And I remember specifically saying, like, I haven't felt this awful in a long time.
Yeah.
Was it line an airplane? I haven't felt that awful. I haven't felt this awful since we saw that Ronald Reagan film. But I remember feeling really terrible and even scarier. So around Valentine's Day, my mom was in town for a conference or something, and I was like, I'm feeling better, but Zoe's not well, but you can come and see us for a little bit. And my mom was in our house while Zoe was sick, and Zoe actually was like, I'm feeling okay, like, and came down to say hi. And I don't even think we had necessarily, like, maybe there was I think there was news about COVID at that point, but like I don't think it had made landfall in the US yet.
Yeah.
But the scariest part about that is to think that we may have had COVID, and like we were extremely lucky, but like, what if we had it, and like what if my mom had gotten it and gotten really sick because she's in her
Yeah.
60s, and luckily that didn't happen. But that was really crazy to
Yeah.
feel like that was an extremely close call.
Yeah. I know where I got my illness from. We were in this van ride with this couple who was older, and there was a woman. I don't remember her name, but I know the guy's name was Kirk. And we stopped for like gas somewhere in the middle of like, middle of the jungle or some shit. And he was like out walking around and like not feeling great. And his wife or girlfriend or whatever was like, "Yeah, Kirk isn't feeling so hot." It's like, all right. So we like back in the van with this guy for a couple hours. And like the next day, like I feel like shit.
Oh no.
The whole time I was like, "You motherfucker, Kirk."
Fucking Kirk.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
So
That
Kirk really
name
fucked
too.
me. Yeah,
Oh
he
man.
no captain of mine. That was
it's
probably
it's true.
so Costa
But
Rica was a good time. That's probably the highlight of my year. I mean, I made the best out of being at home. Read a bunch of shit,
yeah.
played a shitload of video games.
Mhm.
Um, that was good. And
Did you have anything specific that, like, just going back to the growth question, did you kind of have a feeling like, was there ever a moment where you're like, okay, this is really like a challenge that we're dealing with, but we're going to be okay, and have these difficult moments? And was there ever a moment that you were very proud that you not necessarily overcame, but something that you accomplished that you were like, wow, I did that even in that fucking year?
no, the kind of running joke with me is that I'm good with quarantine.
Mhm.
Um, I can be home for a long time. I don't really need to be out. And even though there's some stuff that I miss and don't like, to me, it's mostly I'm inconvenienced by other people who I'm around's desire to go against like a hard quarantine. So like my girlfriend will go a little nuts if she's inside, cooped up all day. I do not share that. Like a full day
Okay.
of just like hanging out, reading, playing some video games, maybe take a walk. That is all good for me. So I may have aged backwards to where like I'm doing shit that was obviously a bigger part of my life when I was like 15.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. It was tough. The stress of COVID and everything since March has been mostly around what do you do, what don't you do, what's
Hmm.
safe, what's not. Like, oh, Thanksgiving's coming. Do you go somewhere for that? Do you go to
Hmm.
Go out to eat on the sidewalk somewhere outside. Is that safe? Is it cool to have people outside in your backyard, but then they gotta come and piss? Is that all right? Like all
Right.
those little nagging things were annoying, and it kind of intruded on my ability to just be in a bunker for 6 months.
Got it.
Which definitely makes me sound like a hermit, but that I am not a real extroverted, socially driven person. So I guess I can just deal with it better. I do travel for work though. Like I usually travel 90 plus flights, 100 plus nights a year for my job. And
Wow.
obviously I wasn't doing that. So I
Right.
am very happy that me being home constantly didn't sink my relationship. That's probably the best overcoming something for the year.
That's
Cause it could have,
that's
that's a big
same.
change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that was the same for me too. I mean, look, it's Zoe and I are married and we like made that commitment, but I got to say there were, you know, and I don't think Zoe would mind me saying like of course we had some difficult moments this year. We were never like, "Oh man, this is it." It was never that. And it was never anything close to that, but we had some tough moments, but the fact that we made it through is what I'm the most proud of. And I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing that I've learned is that, first of all, I think when a couple says that they don't, when I hear couples say that like they never ever fight, I'm like, that's a bad sign to me
It's not
personally.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also not true, right? I mean, like maybe they're just private and they don't want to say, and that's
Or
fine.
maybe you don't have like a big blow up
Right.
or you're like,
But with Zoe, it's what we have is real and it's deep and it's beautiful and it's messy and it's hilarious and weird and it's us. And one thing I'm you know really proud of is just our ability to also communicate better this year.
yeah,
Not that we were ever bad at it, but it's just this is such a time in history where we are literally learning new ways of communicating with our partner and learning how to be in a relationship with our partner. And, because we're together, you know, 24/7, for every day straight for however many months it's been.
yeah,
And we don't get alone time. We don't get space. I mean, you can get like a little physical space in your apartment, whatever, but you can't, oh, I'm going to go over to, Ray's house. I don't even know a Ray. I don't know why I said Ray, but like, I want to go to the bar with some friends. I'm going to go see a movie or whatever. You don't have that. And
yeah,
that was something I was really proud of. And I also know that I can be a lot. I can, I have a lot of energy. I can wear people down. Um, as I'm kind of want to do that. I feel like it's just something that I have to constantly just remember and work on, but it also is a part of just who I am. And I'm very lucky that Zoe not only wants to work on it with me, but accepts me
yeah.
and, isn't trying to change me. And I'm not trying to change her. I mean, and she's more like you too, in the sense that I'm more extroverted and she's more introverted. And I actually think there's an underappreciation for introverted people that there
Hell
shouldn't
yeah.
be. Like there shouldn't be. Introverts are the ones that are running shit and making us all feel comfortable and taken care of. Zoe is a natural caregiver. And actually it's funny, man. You have a similar quality in the sense that I feel like when first of all, you're just like a big hulk of a man, but also like
Thank you.
when
Thank you for describing me. Yes.
yeah, you're welcome. Because
Go on so I can finish.
yeah, I'm almost there. But you know, the thing is that like you have this quality where when someone's around you, like they kind of feel like they're taken care of, and that's a cool quality, and that's rare, and not everybody has that. Um, which I genuinely think is something that you have, and yeah, that was something that we worked on. And the other thing I was proud of is that, or that I'm proud of, is that we made um another short film, and it was good, and
It
it's
was
like,
good.
and it was like, not only
And
was
I
it
and
good,
it's
it's
not just my opinion that it's good.
right. I appreciate that. Thank you. Not only, and that's the other. Okay, that's the other thing. Like, it's not only good. Like, I love it to the point where if someone doesn't like it, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But
Yeah, what
I
do you
know
want
in
here?
my heart
Yeah.
that it's good. Like, I don't care. And not only that, it's my favorite thing I've directed since Revenge Tour.
Yeah.
And, we'll have some exciting news to share about it on the podcast soon. And I think that it's just, I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of that too. But the biggest thing I'm proud of is that is my marriage and how it feels like it's, very strong, and I'm really grateful for that. And it sounds like you are too with
Yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah. It's good. People were breaking up left and right because of the quarantine. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
a change in dynamic. If that's not the relationship you bought into and now that you're stuck together all the time, you could be screwed. So yeah, that's all good. Here, let me compliment you. You are very giving with your time and emotions, and I appreciate that.
Oh, thanks, man. That's nice of you to say that.
Also, I'm
What if
proud of the
what if
show that
Yeah,
we
I am
that we
too.
brought that we
Oh, holy shit.
resurrected.
How do we forget? Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
that for a second. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Bear and I first started this in 2016. Bear came up to me with this idea and was like, "Hey, I have an idea for a podcast I think you and I should do, and it's this idea." And I was like, "That's a fucking great idea. I'm in." And we did it, but it was definitely fun and we were committed to it, but we
Yeah.
didn't do it with this. I don't think we did it with the same excitement and creativity that we do it with now. And
Yes.
we also,
After we talked about it kind of intermittently, like, oh, that was a good idea. We should do it again. And then we just didn't for like
a
3
long
years.
time.
Yeah.
And no one else was doing it. We did find a similar podcast where I think the episodes were like 2 hours, and I was like, fuck that. No one
Sorry.
cares. Like,
Yeah.
and also they weren't doing things that were, I don't know. Like, what I like about what we do is we have live reactions to things while also discussing things. So it's like we can, discuss a movie with someone, but then it's like if we have a happy meal, we'll eat it and discuss and talk about it as we eat it, as opposed to being like, so I ate it and it was good. Like, I don't know. I like that. And I like that aspect of it. But I think the fact that we've been so committed to the show this year, and like we're on a we record every week.
We
Unless
do.
we're like, we're gonna take a
God
week
damn it.
off because we
Yeah.
need to, and like we're very strict with it. We are we put it out at a specific time. We have a website, we have an and we're on it. We're not just, I feel like that was also something that last time we were doing it, we were like, all right, when do you want to do it? This week we're pretty strict about like, okay, we release the episodes Thursday. So like no matter what, we record before then.
Yeah.
And obviously things happen and like things come up or whatever, but that is something I'm also very proud of too. Thanks for bringing that up. I can't even believe that we almost forgot to bring that up. But that's a huge thing. I mean, like without 20, that's another thing, man. Without 2020 and without this quarantine, I think we would have probably brought this back eventually, but I would like to think that at least. But I think this definitely was like, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. We had the time to solidify some, ideas and stuff, which I think helped.
Right.
And I'm constantly surprised at when the people who tell me they listen to and like it,
Me
that
too.
are, outside of the small vicinity that sometimes I would count on. It's like, oh shit, you listen to me talk about stuff. All right.
Yeah.
So thanks
Great.
if you're one
And
of those people.
and thanks to everyone who was a guest on our show
Yeah,
last
we'll have
year.
more. We have
Yeah.
we'll have more. We'll have some recurring ones.
Yes,
And we
definitely.
have some stretch goals that we'd like to hit that we're working on.
We do.
We have
Yeah.
some people that we're trying to line up for some stuff that is more well trod ground.
Yes.
To spice it up, because people
Yeah.
do ask like, oh, why don't you do this album or this movie? And it's like, because it's fucking obvious. Like we got to
Yeah.
find someone to come on or some kind of weird angle to do it. Otherwise, it's not
Yeah.
going to be worth it.
If we do something obvious, we have to have a reason to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why we do things like, it's like Home Alone was fun, and Home Alone 1 and 2 were fun because we had Vlamis and Biniam.
Yeah.
Like they are unique voices with interesting stories, not only related to those movies, but just in general. And it was fun. And like Khalil having a Goofy movie as his number 6 of all time. Like, who the hell else were we going to talk to about
I
a
hate
Goofy
thinking
movie?
about that. But that was the reason. Like people are like, "Oh, what, you should do Die Hard. Why don't you do Die Hard?" I'm like, because Alan Rickman's dead, and we're not going to be able to get him on the show.
And
And I
also
don't know what
Die
Reginald Val Johnson's schedule's like, but he might deny us as well.
right, and also Die Hard is it's
What are we
good.
going to say about it?
Yeah, what are we going to say about it that hasn't been said? That's why you're right. It's like if we get Reginald Bill Johnson, then it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, that's a great point. But yeah, I mean, I think we kind of summed up 2020 and politics pretty well. I know it was
Didn't care for that. Movies were good. Obviously, the Deftones had a monumental album that was just
oh
wonderful this year.
god.
And yeah, I mean,
So
hopefully
did
you got
Taylor
to,
Swift. Taylor Swift had two.
I listened to her more recent one, and somewhere around like the fourth time she threw a verse in where she rhymed like it with shit. I was out. I just couldn't do it. I was like, I
She's
normally I
great.
kind of like her songs, but I'd
She's
have to
great though.
really give
That was
the last album
the
another
documentary
chance.
on her, Miss Americana. It was 2020. That was great. That was a
Yeah,
really good movie from 2020. She's awesome. I think
I don't
she's
have a problem with her. I just
yeah.
couldn't.
I
I
think she's
just
a
felt like
badass.
I felt like the songwriting that I heard so far off that new album was
Oh yeah.
little lackluster.
Okay. Before we wrap up, really quickly, speed round. I want you to say. So you said we said our favorite movies, King of Staten Island, and for you it was Colorblind,
The
or
Color
Color
Out of
Force,
Space.
Color Out of Space. Jesus, yeah. So that goes to show how much I know. So we said our favorite movies. Now, really quickly, if we can wrap it up, let's do favorite TV show, favorite music, like whether it's an album, favorite maybe a hobby that we picked up, and favorite memory of something we did.
Oh, fuck me. All right, favorite album was Ohms from the Deftones. It's great.
Okay.
Um, I the only show I can think of is fucking Tiger King. I
I
guess
mean,
I'll
that's a
say
great one.
that was the one for me. My favorite memory, my birthday, I went. Jackie took me to get hot dogs, and then a bunch of our friends came over in the backyard, and we got very drunk. And that hangover almost undoes that day, but that was a great day. And then hobby wise, I actually built some Legos, which I really liked, which we'll probably do a show on. Uh,
Nice.
and I picked up. I have a trick yo-yo that's
Okay.
unresponsive, and I picked that up and started doing that during some conference calls, and I've retained an amount of yo-yoing skill that surprised me. So maybe that's some fodder
Damn, we got to do an episode
as
on
well.
that.
Yeah, weird, but yes.
Yo-yos
Yes.
was totally 90s. I remember being
Fuck
obsessed with
yeah.
them.
Oh fuck.
The best. All right, so
To you.
let's see.
Lightning
Favorite TV show. Damn. I really did love Tiger King.
I liked it, but it's the only one I can think of right now. So it
right.
had fantastic.
You know what I honestly, you know what I really loved? Like binged it in 2 days. Love Life on HBO Max
Haven't seen it.
with Anna Kendrick. I really loved it. I thought it was funny and really involving, and I was engrossed in her story. I really liked it. I thought it was fresh and interesting, and I really liked it. That's definitely, I think, my favorite of 2020. However, I did also start watching finally the Larry Sanders Show, which is admittedly from 1992, but it's easily my favorite thing I've watched on TV this year.
All right, I will get to that.
It's so fucking funny. But
okay.
yeah, my favorite 2020 would probably be Love Life. I think after that would be Tiger King, and then probably Dave on FX. But anyway, and then favorite. Did I say what was it? Favorite album? Fuck. What was it? I know there was something that I was like, oh shit, this is really good. Damn, I'm drawing a complete blank. I think I should. I feel like something did come out that I really did like, but I can't remember. I'll probably, honestly, I think I'll go with Taylor Swift's Folklore. It was great. It really just made me happy. It was nice to listen to. I also liked Ariana Grande's album.
It's rare that I hear a song from her that I don't like.
She's great.
Except Seven Rings, I hate that song, but a lot of other stuff I don't like.
Yeah, she's great. If something else comes to me, I'll think about it, but I can't remember. Favorite memory was probably getting Bill and bringing him home. I mean, like that, you just can't beat that. That was just so magical and beautiful, and it was amazing. And he's just the best. Favorite hobbies, I have two: cooking and like smoking meats and getting really into that and getting better at it, and just cooking, great stuff here. And then like walking Bill and making that a part of my routine, getting better at it. He's at daycare right now, which is why it's so quiet finally while I'm recording. But yeah, no, I mean, getting used to it, because one of the things that I don't think people talk about with getting a dog is that, like, yes, it is a lot of love at first sight, but it's a lot of work, especially a puppy you have to train. And there can be some frustration and resentment and, just aggravation, but it doesn't mean that you don't love them. And that was something that I learned this year for sure. And I'm grateful that I learned it. Cause he's amazing. He's made our lives, Zoe and mine, like undoubtedly better.
Nice.
And I love him. He's great. So yeah, on to 2021, and we'll keep this going. We're excited about it. Tell Jackie I say hi. Nice little wink you just gave her.
I did just wink to her. So yeah, she said hi to you too. So there you go.
Hell yeah. But dude, I love you. Yeah. This has been great.
Yes. I love you.
Yeah, and this has been awesome bringing this back, and we'll continue to do it for the new year.
We'll continue with more dumb shit. I don't know what we're doing next. We'll have to confer, but we'll be back.
We'll figure it out.
All you special people.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, guys. See you soon.
Bye.